Tonight's big stories. Former Senator Leila de Lima's bail petition before a Muntinlupa court remains pending as the court asks for more time before making their decision. This is the third and final drug charge being faced by de Lima after she was acquitted in the first two. We'll discuss this remaining case with her legal counsel Dino De Leon later on in the program.
PHIVOLCS has raised Alert 2 over Mayon volcano due to increasing unrest. But along with that, authorities are also monitoring the Taal volcano due to its continued and increased degassing activity. We'll get more updates on this with the resident volcanologist of Mayon volcano, Dr. Paul Alanis, later on in the show.
And the 150-year-old mystery behind the paternity of the late President Sergio Osmeña Sr. has been solved. DNA results have identified the real father of Cebu's grand old man. We'll tell you all about it also later in the show. Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Gretchen Ho, and this is the big story. Where else? A Muntinlupa court is asking for more time before releasing their decision on former Senator Leila de Lima's petition for bail. So in short, pending pa rin ang bail sa kanyang last remaining case. And we know there are 3 cases too.
She has been acquitted from the
off.
2. So we're only talking about one case from now on, right? So this is about the case which talks about her involvement, supposedly, in the illegal drug trade inside the New Bilibid prison.
What else do we know? When will the decision for this be released?
Well, there's another hearing on June 19. But today, Regina, I think most people were expecting the decision for her bail petition to come out, but that did not happen.
Sabi niya, malapit na ang hustisya. Those were her words coming out of the Muntinlupa RTC. There was a mass held outside. And after 6 years, I think this is the closest that she has come to being released from detention.
In short, they are confident that the ruling will go in their favor.
Looks like it.
Looks like it, definitely. But there have been a bunch of delays. So today, the prosecution released 20 new witnesses, 17 of whom already testified in the previous 2 drug cases where she was acquitted from. So they're saying, is this a case of double jeopardy or delaying tactics? And Gretch, when exactly will this bail decision come out?
Well, Sean, de Lima's camp says they're hoping that it will come very soon. And prior to that update, supporters of de Lima held a mass outside, as mentioned earlier, the Muntinlupa RTC 256, as they pray for a favorable decision. De Lima's camp is hoping that the court will grant their petition based on the merits of the case and not on humanitarian grounds, as proposed earlier by Justice Secretary Remulla. Recall that she was acquitted in the 2 cases because of the retraction of the statements of key witnesses. De Lima's camp says they are expecting the decision for her bail petition to be released any day now.
Very, very soon. So I don't want to speculate talaga kung kailan. But we are really hoping na it will come out soon para malaman natin kung talagang pwede nang makalaya muna kahit pansamantala si Senator Leila.
Pero Sean, ang tagal-tagal na nito, 6 years na in detention. Can you take us back to 2017 when the cases were filed and the timeline of this whole debacle?
All right, Reg, this is exactly what you were asking me earlier. So again, 3 cases were filed way back in 2017. We were much younger then, and it was February 23 of that year when the arrest warrant was released over alleged violation of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act. The following day, de Lima was arrested. The first case was handled by the Muntinlupa RTC Branch 205. This one was about her supposed extortion of high-profile inmates in the Bilibid while she was still Justice Secretary. But in 2020, one of these inmates who served as key witness, J.B. Sebastian, died of COVID-19. And the year after that, de Lima was acquitted due to lack of evidence. Moving on now to the second case, which was anchored on the testimony of former Bucor OIC Rafael Ragos. This was the charge where de Lima attained her most recent acquittal. Ragos recanted his allegations just last year, alleging that former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre forced him to lie. A month before that, another key witness, Self-confessed drug lord Kerwin Espinosa also recanted his allegations, saying he never gave any money to De Lima. He says he only invented this story due to threats made on his life. So in that case, De Lima has also been acquitted. But after just 2 weeks, government prosecutors filed a motion for reconsideration seeking to overturn this decision, saying that Ragos' recantation was not sufficient to impair his original testimony. Now, this third case is in relation to De Lima's supposed involvement in the drug trade inside Bilibid prison. This is based, as we mentioned, on the accusations of drug convict Herbert Colango. And as reported, the former senator's petition for bail remains pending at the Muntinlupa RTC Branch 256 and could be released, quote-unquote, very, very soon.
All right, let's discuss De Lima's third and final case with her legal counsel, Attorney Dino De Leon, who joins us on the line tonight. Good evening, Attorney. Thanks for joining us. Excuse me. Let me get right into it. More time needed now for the decision on the bail petition. What did you guys think of this?
Well, we've been waiting for the bail resolution ever since last week, so we are looking forward to it as much as everyone is hoping that it be released soon, because as mentioned a while ago, this has been pending for far too long. The injustice here has been so grave. There's so much wasted time and resources for something that has been and the only thing that can be described here is the persecution of human rights defender. No? So hopefully the bail petition will be ruled on Senator De Lima's favor and as soon as possible.
Okay. What was the mood in the court today, and how confident are you that the bail petition will be granted? This has been a long time coming, and you've been waiting for this. How was it like?
If the question is how confident we are, well, right from the very start, when you know that the truth is on your side, then right from the very start, Senator De Lima wanted to face these charges, these invented accusations, these fabrications, this frame up. Right from the very start, she wanted to face everyone in the eye and talk about her, or face everyone because she's innocent. So hopefully, we are hoping rather that everything will go through very smoothly. Finally, after 6 years of persecution wherein the awesome powers of the state has been weaponized by the Duterte administration, hopefully there's going to be a change this time around.
All right, Attorney Dino, let me just ask. The prosecution actually offered up 20 more witnesses, 17 of whom have already testified before. Now, your camp has gone on record to say that you are considering what to do, whether to take their testimonies and adapt it, in layman's terms, to this current case. Are you going to do that?
Oh, well, it is saddening. It's very saddening that the prosecution is recycling witnesses. Of course, we leave it up to the discretion of the court on how exactly we would appreciate this. But a lot of the witnesses have previously testified. And supposedly what's different is the timeline of events. Now, if they're recycling the same witnesses, what exactly is the difference of this particular case? So all those 17 witnesses will see whether we can just stipulate as to exactly what they're going to testify on, especially if it's going to be the same. Hopefully, no one will allow themselves to be used by these delaying tactics of the prosecution. But what we can only see as delaying tactics of the prosecution. In fact, we're saddened that it is very basic in criminal law that once an accused has been declared as innocent, the prosecution should rest its case because of the constitutional prescription against double jeopardy. But we didn't see that coming in criminal case 165, where Senator De Lima was just recently acquitted, so to speak, and the prosecution, in fact, still filed a motion for reconsideration, even though it goes against the very fundamental right as guaranteed by our Constitution, that there shouldn't be any double jeopardy. If you would recall, no less than Secretary Remulla stated on May 12, if I'm not mistaken, that, quote unquote, the rule of law has prevailed. Things are working in our country. An acquittal is an acquittal. That is good. It means that democracy is working. And then a week after, or around 2 weeks after, the panel of prosecutors will file a motion for reconsideration. So what is it really? Is the rule of law prevailing, as the Justice Secretary is saying, or they think that it was erroneous, as the prosecutors are saying in their motion for reconsideration? Where are the prosecutors getting their orders from? Is the Secretary of Justice still in charge? Why is it that what the Secretary of Justice proclaiming is going against that very actions of the panel of prosecutors? It's a little bit disappointing and disheartening that the prosecutors chose this track.
All right, we're just going to have to see how that plays out. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Attorney Dino De Leon, legal counsel to former Senator Laila De Lima. President Marcos has appointed Gibo Teodoro back as Defense Secretary and Dr. Ted Urbosa as Chief of the Health Department. The announcement was made after President Marcos met with both Teodoro and Defense Officer in Charge Carlito Galvez. Teodoro served as Defense Secretary under the Arroyo administration. He lost the presidential elections in 2010 and ran for senator under the Uniteam ticket last year. Meanwhile, Dr. Ted Urbosa will take the helm at the DOH, which was previously run by OIC USEC Maria Rosario Vergere. Urbosa served as special advisor to the National Task Force against COVID-19.
Moving on to other news, the Social Welfare Department has made a few tweaks to its food stamp program. So this food stamp program, being bannered by the BBM administration, features 1 million food poor families to be helped from 2024 to 2027. They will be given 3,000 pesos a month using an electronic transfer card. And of course, before they do the pilot run from July to December, they have, to set the guidelines as to who will be the recipients of.
Actually, today, Gretch, the tweak that I was most interested in is that they're not just going to give this for free. So in return for receiving the ayuda through the digital tap card,
Tap cards is what they're called.
they will be required to attend some job-generating efforts of the government. I assume these are some sort of job fairs or some sort of jobs match-up kind of thing. So still not a lot of details, Gretch, but we do have just a month left until the pilot run begins. You mentioned July is the start. What else is the DSWD doing to improve on this project?
We talked about these food stamp cards that will be given to beneficiaries. DSWD Undersecretary Ed Punay says they want to prevent instances wherein beneficiaries sell or lend out these cards. He says the department will roll out an added security feature for that. What does that mean exactly? Let's hear it from Undersecretary Punay.
We are utilizing the biometrics for our beneficiaries. So paggamit po nila ng tap card, ng EBT card, kasama po doon yung biometrics. Meron pong thumb mark, fingerprint, bago nila makuha yung kanilang benefits. Kaya hindi po pwedeng transferable po ito, hindi po siya pwedeng isanla.
So aside from having payout problems, the DSWD has also had to deal with the streamlining of its list of beneficiaries. But exactly how will they do that for this planned food stamp project? Elaine Fulgencio will try to answer that for us. Go ahead, Elaine.
Sean, the DSWD is looking to have beneficiaries graduate from the program after 4 years. This is to end a so-called culture of dependency on government aid. With this, beneficiaries will be required to enroll in job programs provided by DOLE or TESDA. The DSWD hopes that by subsidizing their food needs, the beneficiaries will be able to use their money for skills training to eventually get employed. Sean?
Thanks for that, Elaine.
Up next, alert level 2 is currently raised over Mayon because of an increase in rockfall from the volcano's lava dome. We'll discuss this further with Mayon Volcanoes Observatory's Dr. Paul Alanis when we return. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're watching The Big Story here on One News.
Guys, have you heard? It's alert level 2.
Which one?
Which one?
Which
Well, the
volcano?
volcanoes. Volcano. Mayon volcano. Mayon volcano over in Bicol, the perfect cone shape. Malamang it's not perfect anymore, although matagal
No,
na.
it's still quite perfect.
It's still-
Almost.
Just that tip
Yeah.
was a bit.
But I remember
Oh,
when the
anyways.
plane crashed there, it was alert level 1, di ba?
Yes. So now it's gone up to alert level 2. There's been a bunch of volcanic activity. We're not gonna go too technical. We'll do that in just a bit. But basically, there's been an increase of activities, and I think they have recorded some like 26 earthquakes, which is not a crazy lot since like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't think the unrest has actually stopped since that incident. How many months ago now? I
That
don't
was
know. I've
March.
lost
I think
track.
that was
Yeah.
no. It was
was,
alert
a
level
year?
1 by
Yeah.
March.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, according to FIVOX, there is current unrest, and this one is driven by shallow magmatic processes, which could lead to phreatic or steam-driven eruptions, or even precede a hazardous magmatic eruption. Now, before Monday, Mayon volcano had been under alert level 1, or exhibiting a low level of unrest since March 16. FIVOX noted that there has been an increase in rockfall from Mayon volcano's summit lava dome since the last week of April. But guys, it's not just the Mayon volcano, because over in Taal, FIVOX says that there has been increased and continuous degassing from the Taal volcano in Batangas. So on June 1, the sulfur dioxide in the main crater lake of Taal started to rise, reaching over 5,800 tons per day. In addition, there have been recorded volcanic tremors or ground shaking in Taal volcano since June 2, prompting FIVOX to issue an advisory. Despite this, Taal volcano will remain under alert level 1.
Practically very quiet, nagkaroon tayo ng volcanic tremor. And this coincided with, several days of slight increase in SO2. So we might, we hope na hindi, but we might see another trend of unrest kasi pwede tayong magkaroon ng similar to the 2021 events, for several months na seismic unrest. And then in July 1, 2021, nagkaroon tayo ng phreatomagmatic eruption sa Taal main crater.
Well, with these developments, what guidelines have FIVOX released amid the unrest in Mayon and Taal volcanoes? Let's bring in Marian Enriquez to give us the details. Marian?
Yes, Gretchen, FIVOX has reminded the public not to enter the 6-kilometer radius permanent danger zone around Mayon volcano to minimize risks from sudden explosions, rockfall, and landslides. Meanwhile, the agency has also issued a warning to residents living near the Taal volcano regarding the continuous increase in sulfur dioxide and volcanic tremors. The public are reminded to avoid going to Taal volcano island, especially to Taal main crater and the Angkasila trail. Precautions and preparations are also being advised, particularly on the eastern side, as there is a possibility of continued exposure to volcanic smog or VOG and sulfur dioxide from the volcano. Gretchen.
Stay away from activities near the volcanoes and a 6-kilometer radius. Thank you so much, Marian Enriquez.
So the question is, how concerned should the public be about this recent activity in Mayon and Taal? To answer that, we have with us Dr. Paul Alanis. He's the resident volcanologist of Mayon volcano. Good evening, doctor, and welcome to The Big Story. Thanks for joining us. We were just reporting that the unrest has been continuing on since for a few months now. So the question is, what could have caused this heightened unrest in Mayon in recent days?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening. Well, for the past, of course, since this all started actually since August of 2022, when FIVOX noted a change, or rather an increase in the size of the lava dome that was left during the 2018 eruption of Mayon volcano. Now, after a few months, by October, we noticed it continued to increase in size, so we raised the alert level to alert level 2. But in March, by March, we noted that it seems that the lava dome has ceased increasing in size, so we lowered the alert level status to alert level 1. But lately, beginning April 1st of 2023, we noted a sharp increase in the number of rockfall events, as well as also changes in the size of the lava dome. which is practical. These rockfall events are actually being driven by the continuous increase in the size of the lava dome, which is currently now collapsing.
All right, Dr. Paul, bottom line, should we panic about a possible eruption in the near future? And also, if you could be so kind to explain to us in layman's term what the lava dome is and what a rockfall is.
Okay. So, firstly, I have to calm down people, but because at the moment we're not anticipating a major eruption in the style of 2018 for Mayon volcano. Although there is still the possibility of these small eruptions or explosions that can occur, especially now that the volcano is currently very unstable. A lava dome is just, if you look at it, it's just a pile of hot rocks that the volcano is currently extruding out or coming out of the volcano. Now, this currently the lava dome that is in Mayon volcano was left over from the 2018 eruption. Now, during its growth of the lava dome, this lava dome is very unstable. So every now and then, some bits of it will fall off or collapse. And this is what is happening right now in Mayon volcano. Some bits of this lava dome is collapsing, and this is what we call the rock falls right now.
Doc Paul, paano naman po sa Taal Volcano yung sulfur dioxide emissions? Do we have to worry about that? And people have been going on vacation during the weekends. What would be your reminders to the public, those who want to go to Tagaytay, for example?
Okay. Now, in terms of with regards to Taal Volcano, of course, the sulfur dioxide is very high right now. Actually, as of today, I think according to the sulfur dioxide survey, it's over 9,000 tons per day. The sulfur dioxide emission today was almost more than 9,000 tons. So at that emission rate, of course, it's very bad for the health, especially for those who yung mga may respiratory problems. So you can probably experience difficulty in breathing,
Aabot po yan sa
irritated
Tagaytay?
throat, irritated airways. It's possible that it can reach up to Tagaytay, depending on where the wind is blowing.
Good reminder. So for those who have difficulty breathing or just maybe stay away from that area for a while.
Wear a
right?
N95 mask.
Hopefully it doesn't, though. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Paul Alanis, resident volcanologist of Mayon Volcano. Aside from volcanoes, the Philippine government is also being urged to keep an eye on cases of bird flu. House Agricultural Panel Vice Chairman Joey Salceda cited warnings from the World Health Organization about the rapidly changing nature of the avian flu virus. He said countries like Vietnam and China are already taking steps to conduct massive poultry vaccinations. Salceda also suggested forming an interagency task force for animal disease. The lawmaker added that high-risk provinces included Batangas and Cebu, since both areas are heavy in avian migration and poultry raising.
After this quick break, Filipinos are spending more and more time online and less hours on productive activities. Is our internet usage becoming too much? We'll have that discussion when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the big story here on One News. What else do we have tonight,
Well,
girls?
our next item, we're, probably not surprised by this. Oo, swak sa timing yung super app na ginagawa ng government ngayon. Kasi babad din naman talaga yung mga Pinoy online. Like how many hours
guilty
you
as
spend,
charged.
right?
Savvy, we know.
Yeah, sabi 7 hours. Yun nga lang mukhang hindi nagagamit for learning at self-improvement. Pero pwede ko rin i-argue dyan. Parang malalaman talaga kung anong binabrowse. Malay mo, nag-aaral sa TikTok.
Someone's
For what?
always watching, Gretch.
Yeah,
They
that's
know.
it.
They have our data.
Because we're basing it off the PISA study, right? Which
Yes.
found that the Philippines is amongst the lowest in reading comprehension amongst 79
That's true.
But we're the highest
Well,
in terms of social media.
a study by Meta found around 94 million Filipinos are online users, most of whom spend at least 7 hours logged in. According to the DICT, Filipinos also exceed the global average when it comes to surfing the net and scrolling through social media. However, all this time spent online may be preventing Filipinos from pursuing more productive hobbies and activities. The Philippines has tallied low in reading comprehension for one and high in learning poverty. That's according to different studies. That's why the National Book Development Board held a 3-day book festival this weekend to encourage more Filipinos to read. The event also features seminars, book exhibits, and some art activities.
We can mitigate anything. If there's anything that, learning poverty, okay, all the books are here. So, wala na kayong choice.
Alright, ito naman, ongoing saga na binabantayan natin since last week. Some big news over in entertainment. Of course, Reg, I'm sure you know this, noontime show Eat Bulaga has introduced its new hosts and its new look, effective today. So the show's live episode earlier this afternoon featured Paulo Contis, Betong Sumaya, Buboy Villar, Alexa Miro, and twins Cassie and Mavi Legaspi. The show's name, Eat Bulaga, and the EB logo were retained, but the iconic theme song previously played before it was not heard. This comes after main hosts TVJ or Tito and Vic Soto and Joey De Leon announced their departure from Tape Incorporated after more than 40 years. Recall that TVJ's co-hosts also bowed out of the country's longest-running noontime show. The latest word is that TVJ will make an announcement on June 7 on where they will be moving. Former Senator Tito Soto said this in a TV interview today. However, that was all that he said.
AirAsia Philippines is seeing brisk business on sustained revenge travel across the ASEAN region. Kathy Yang of Thought Leaders spoke with co-founder Tony Fernandez as he landed in Manila, his first trip since the pandemic. Let's watch this.
Travel is number one discretionary spend right now. I mean, I think people would rather go to Puerto Princesa than have a nice meal. I firmly believe, I will tell the president, I will tell anybody that Philippines can be like Thailand. This is probably the most beautiful country in ASEAN and has amazing people and amazing diversity, But what's held it back? Infrastructure, right? You can build an airport. We have a great airport in Clark, but we have to get to Clark. And, it's a heavy experience to get to Clark. And then this country needs more public transport. The population has grown so much since I started coming here recording music to now. So one of the frustrating things I think, which I hope this government and I hope private enterprise, because there's great entrepreneurs in the Philippines, will put more effort into building infrastructure.
And do you think that is going to hold back the Philippines from the kind of revenge travel that you're seeing in the region?
Well, I'm seeing Sabina Boites after this, and there's two stories in the Philippines, right? There's Manila, and then what's happening outside of Manila. So I'm very bullish on what they're talking about on Puerto Princesa, on, Bohol, and Cebu, right? So there, I think the infrastructure is racing ahead. I think right now, there's no holding back because there's enough capacity, but to get to that 9 million, investment has to come. And I firmly believe if you build it, it will come. This is a country that's ready to explode, given the chance.
You can catch the full interview on Thought Leaders next Tuesday, June 13, only here on One News.
All right, we just have a little more time before we go. Guys, our big picture for tonight.
We have a revelation.
Ta-da! This is former President Sergio Osmeña Sr. Now, if you're wondering why a 150-year-old mystery surrounding the paternity of the late president was finally answered. So, the family and relatives of the country's fourth president announced the results of a project aimed at identifying the father of Cebu's grand old man. Dr. Todd Lucero Sales, a renowned forensic genealogist, said that Osmeña's father was not Don Pedro Ligo Tiauco, who is a Cebuano-Chinese tycoon that many presume to have sired the son of 16-year-old Juana Osmeña. His real father is Don Antonio Sanson. He is a merchant from another illustrious Cebuano family during the Spanish era. Now, according to his granddaughter, Annabella Boitiz, the Osmeña family wanted to share the results of the paternity project to correct history. O, di ba? Cool history fact, ika nga.
Ano kaya nila ginagawa yun, ano?
So, sobrang
Late
interesting.
president na siya eh.
So
paano
they traced the, I don't know how they got his sample, but I know that they did some Y chromosome. That's the male chromosome. So they traced it from
Gene
the
sequencing technology
Yes.
these days is so advanced. It's so sophisticated.
Pwede kaya gawin yun sa iba pang mga...
Sino bang gusto?
Maraming
Kanino
matata.
ba gustong gawin?
Hindi, wala lang, di ba? Pag na-activate ng DNA, paternity, mga ganon.
You are not the father. But that's it from the show tonight.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thank you for watching and good night.